Hello and welcome to the first MCTlive Release Notes video overview. This video is the first segment of a weekly presentation that will review the latest MCTlive innovations and functionality updates. The combination of MCT's agile software development methodology and short client end user feedback cycle allows us to rapidly deploy updates to the platform. While these real-time enhancements provide substantial benefit to our clients, especially in a rapidly evolving market, the constant updates can sometimes be tough for a user to keep up with. This weekly webinar series is meant to make it easier to keep up with all the new functionality. With that, I'll now give an overview of this week's update. The first release that we will review stems from the surprise FHFA-directed refinance adverse market fee that was first announced on August 12th and then subsequently delayed for 3 months on August 25th. In order to properly explain the rationale and utility of this update, I need to give you first a quick 2-minute background in the basics of pipeline pull-through analysis. A fundamental precept of pipeline pull-through forecasting is that borrower rate attractiveness driven by movement in the TBA mortgage-backed security market will have an inverse effect on pipeline pull-through. All else being equal, as the TBA market rallies, pull-through rates will fall, and conversely, as the TBA market deteriorates, we can expect pull-through rates to rise. The extent of which market-driven pull-through variability will occur for a given loan will depend on the characteristics such as loan purpose, loan program, current status of the loan, and the origination channel from which the loan came. We can forecast the magnitude of this pull-through movement by regressing historical pull-through data against the market experience of the loans in the analysis. This gives us slopes or pull-through betas that we can then apply to the market experience of current loans in the existing pipeline, which allows us to forecast the effect that the current market experience of the pipeline will have on pull-through. And it's exactly at this point where this release becomes pertinent in the context of FHFA's Wednesday night surprise on the mortgage industry and then change of heart on August 25th. By way of example, let's say I have a rate term refinance that was locked on July 15th, and by August 12th, that loan had experienced a 50 basis point market improvement given its program and note rate. This would cause the pull-through forecast to be slightly reduced for this loan. However, because of the 50 basis point refinance adverse market fee announcement on the night of the 12th, this loan had effectively experienced a zero market movement as of the morning of August 13th. In other words, the surprise adverse market fee serves as an artificial market deterioration, which would have caused a pull-through model to underestimate pull-through. Now fast forward to August 25th when FHFA has a change of heart and gives a gift of a 3-month delay of implementation to the mortgage industry. As a result, the loan that I have just used as an example is now back to its original market movement. However, all loans locked between August 13th and August 25th now have the opposite problem. The temporary removal of this adjustment has created an artificial market improvement for these loans, which will cause a pull-through model to overestimate pull-through. In both cases, the problem is we can't simply reset pipeline movement in the model by 50 basis points in either direction because this LLPA only applies to conventional refis and only applies for loans locked between specific dates, in this case August 12th and August 24th. To solve this, we've added functionality within the pull-through assumption screen to specifically and automatically adjust market movement for a given group of loans in the pipeline with both lock date and expiration date cutoffs and ranges. Now I'll give you a quick demonstration of the functionality within the MCTlive platform.
You can access the pull-through assumptions screen by clicking on the pull-through assumptions button in the pipeline coverage tab. Once the pull-through assumptions screen loads, you'll see a new checkbox for those of you that are familiar with the screen to the far right titled Show Market Diff Reduction Fields. We're going to click that, and that's going to bring up 6 new fields. And initially, as I had just mentioned, what we were initially doing when we created this functionality was that there was a 50 basis point reduction, obviously, in pricing. And so what we would have done is on August 12th that occurred, we would have put in a date of August 13th. And so basically anything August 12th and prior would have experienced an artificial 50 basis point deterioration, this FHFA LLPA that was implemented, that the market, as we had talked about, that the market experience can't see. However, that of course was reverted on August 25th. And so, but we still have an issue. As I just discussed in my example, we've got an issue for loans that were locked between the period of August 13th, so we're gonna create a range here, and August 25th. So those loans, if you think about it, those loans have now basically they had this artificial LLPA placed on them, right? Because everybody, as of August 13th, because there was no warning for this hit on August 12th that was introduced, everyone put that 50 basis point adjustment into their rate sheet. Now, what occurred, though, of course, is that then on August 25th, you get a 3-month delay, where as of the morning of August 26th, which is when we're doing this video here, we're seeing the vast majority of lenders pull that adjustment out. Now, I'll talk about, for those lenders that are not pulling that out, what we would recommend here. But for the normal lender who is going to remove that 50 basis point adjuster, what you're going to do here is you're going to put this range in, and then you've got your market diff range reduction here. And what that is this is a reduction in market movement. So I know it's a little bit confusing because we've got a double negative here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a negative 50 basis point reduction, which basically equates, I know that's a little bit confusing, but equates to a positive 50 basis point improvement. Okay, and so what we're first going to be looking at here is we're going to be adjusting the pull through of the con 30 using our example here. In the interest of time, we're just going to do con 30, and that slots into the UM30 security, and you can see up here on my security partition pipeline coverage box that I've got a forecasted pull through of 88.53%. So we're going to remember that number. And so now I've put in kind of the adjustment that I want to make here, and I'm first going to go down to my update changes button at the bottom of the pull through assumptions screen. I'm going to update the changes, wait till that saved turns green there. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to use the propagate functionality, because of course we've got a ton of granularity in pull through assumptions, which is great from an accuracy standpoint, but it can be a daunting task to manually update all these fields. So we're going to use our propagate functionality, and what we're going to first do is you can see that we have updated a con 30 cash out in the initial lock status of where we want this market movement to be adjusted. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to copy from the initial locked cash out status. I'm going to copy that to all statuses in the cash out. So I'm going to click copy here. And then this screen is not going to update from the database. We're going to have to reload the screen. So I'm going to close out of it, and I'm going to pop it up again here. And you are going to see that now all of these have been populated, so we're good to go. Now there's one more step here, because of course we've just made these adjustments for the cash outs. Now we need to make the adjustment for the rate term, because the rate terms, of course, that's what we're concerned about. That's going to be the vast majority of refis, obviously, right now. So we're going to go into the propagate button again. We're going to propagate from a cash out purpose to a rate term purpose. And we're going to go all statuses, click copy. And when I do that, I'm going to close back out, and I'm going to open my pull through again, show my fields, and you can see that they have now all been updated. Okay, so now we have everything updated, and if you think about it, what we're basically saying is that these loans have experienced an artificial rally, right? Because they were 2 days ago. Again, I'm recording this on August 26th. So on August 24th, when a rate term refi or a cash out was locked, it was locked with an LLPA of 50 basis points and an adverse market fee. Now today, that LLPA has been removed, at least for the time being. It's going to be, as we all know, it's extended till December, which figure for 30 to 45 day locks gives us another, let's call it 2 to 3 weeks of when these are going to be, when this charge is not going to be implemented on the front end. And bottom line, from a pull-through standpoint, we care about competitiveness, about rate attractiveness to the borrower. What is the probability that that borrower is going to walk down the street? That's why we adjust pull-through for market movement. So again, what we would expect is we'd expect this pull-through to slightly drop, okay? And so now what we're going to do, we've got 88.53 here, and we are going to reload it. And it's just take us a second here. And you can see that now we went down to 88.21. So we've dropped 0.3%. Again, small adjustment, but of course I haven't adjusted all the programs. So that really is the functionality. Now, one thing, someone might question, okay, why does MCT give me the flexibility here versus just putting it in the model, hard coding it in the model? The reason we give you flexibility is there are some, by the way, we're not saying you should do this, but there are some lenders out there that are passing through this adjustment back down to the borrowers for competitive reasons. Maybe they're renegotiating lenders. Definitely not saying that's a good or a bad thing. It depends also, a lot with your origination model. But if you were passing through some of this back in the form of, let's say, a float down of 1/8 of a point, you would definitely not want to make this adjustment. Right, and so these are adjustments for the most part that are MCT traders. For those of you that are managed, your account is managed by an MCT trader. We will have discussed this with you and or implemented it directly, provided that market improvement basically is what happened for these loans is not being passed through. For those of you autonomous users, we wanted to make sure you were aware of this functionality. And so with that will conclude our first update here, and we will be talking next week. Appreciate your time. Thank you.